What is up, guys? Welcome to Town Hall episode number 27, and we are here, your normal hosts. We got our wonderful cast of hosts, but we are joined by the one and only Liquid Sheth. So starting off with you, man, why don't you just say hello and introduce yourself to the audience?
Alright, hey chat. My name is Liquid Sheth. Sean, you can call me anything like that. I used to play a lot of StarCraft 2 back in the day. A lot of StarCraft 2. I've known Jake forever. I used to do a lot of things with MLG just from the player point of view. And recently I've started playing a lot of heroes. Probably averaging something like 8 hours a day for the last 20 days or something like that. And I'm just really happy to be on the show, be able to talk about a bunch of heroes with a bunch of heroes.
Oh, man.
Wow. My heart.
Wow. It's just so nice. He's too nice. He's too nice. Kick him off.
Well, Chef, to your left, that's Jared. Jared, what's going on, man?
Not much. Had a pretty fun week. I'm enjoying the new job. It's super chill. But I didn't think this would become a problem, but it has been. You know, I didn't think work at home job will get you into a really bad mindset. There was a week there that I didn't shower. It just got really bad.
No,
I didn't leave my house.
Never admit to that on air.
But I am making a constant effort. I go out. I force myself to just go out, either to the movies by myself or with a friend, or try and just walk around. I'm forcing myself to be active because this is something new to me, and I'm trying to keep myself in a healthy mindset because it got bad there. It got real bad there for a
so
moment.
Not
Jared,
directly the same, but I used to work overnight at a grocery store. I did it for a couple of years, and similar mindset. You just stop interacting with other humans, and you just kind of slowly become this cave creature. But I had to shower every day at least.
Yeah, I work with myself and myself alone, so I was okay with sitting in my own filth, but I put a stop to that real quick.
Well, glad to hear that.
Thank you for at least admitting that you changed.
Well,
No.
a much more clean host and coworker of mine, Sham 2, what's going on, man?
I don't know how to follow that.
You can't.
I'm doing really well. I went outside Saturday. I went to Six Flags. Had a great time. I actually haven't been to Six Flags in forever. Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey. I went on the log flume, so I got covered in Jersey water. That was probably the worst part of the day.
So you're about as clean as Jared on that day.
Even though I've been taking
superpowers.
I don't think so. But yeah, and I also just want to put out a quick little note that we do have an iTunes podcast feature for this page, or for this podcast, where I'm saying. So if you want to check it out, we have the audio only for Town Hall Heroes. If you missed the episode, or you want to catch it somewhere else with audio only and just download it to your phone, you can go to iTunes and do that. Also, if you have the time, please give us a rating. We're a little bit low on ratings right now. We need more. We need to construct additional ratings. So if you have a couple of minutes, just give us a rating on iTunes. That would really help us out.
A positive rating, please.
A positive rating,
Well,
preferably.
I mean, that would be good. That'd be nice.
I mean,
if you like the show,
don't like people who don't shower, then you can give us a negative rating.
yeah. Well,
Rude.
the man who has a glass of water in our pre-show.
And Jake, you missed it. He dipped his Oreo into the glass of water.
Oh my God!
I had to show them.
Right?
I had to show them how to dip.
That's
That's beside the point.
that's disgusting.
I spend most of my time perfecting my Oreo dipping technique.
Water.
With
What
water.
are you, an animal?
Yeah.
Well, other than dipping Oreos in water, what's new with you, Coobs?
Oh, not much. Been playing lots of Street Fighter and way too much Sonya. I'm almost once you hit 10 with a character, you're like, oh, do I keep going? No, you stop. It's gonna be time to switch soon, but maybe not after some
Wait,
surprise.
there's a Sonya in Street Fighter as well
No.
this year?
No, he's talking about Sonya.
Talking about we switched over to Heroes,
Oh,
that
okay.
game that we talk about and stuff. Yeah, I might actually be going out of state for a tournament for Street Fighter next weekend.
Nice, bro.
Next weekend.
Yeah.
Where?
Philly.
Wow, that's really out of state.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see
Keep us
though.
updated. Keep us updated.
Yep.
Well, jumping on into the show, what we're going to be talking about today is we have a new segment we're calling the Meta Update, We got Coobys Questions. We got a deep dive with Valla, with Sheth being our Valla expert, because like none of us play carries, or assassins rather, on this show. I guess Jared does. Quote unquote Blizzard stance on events and casting. That's our drama section for the day, if you will. And we're talking about the Versa Invitational put out. It's sponsored by My Insanity and versasphere.net. Their invitational has been kind of announced. We know 3 of the 4 teams. There's a team listed as question marks. We're talking about that. And just kind of like the shifts in the meta in general. Like, just that's part of our meta update. But, you know, let's actually just segue and start right in that. Right in there. So, if you guys haven't seen our show last week, one of the big things we did last week is our deep dive on Rhaegar. And we had Ace of Spades on our show. Kevin. Yep. I can't say that without you going ham on that.
Ace of Spades! Sorry, there we go.
all week I was singing that song. Good stuff.
And we talked a lot about Rhaegar. We did our full deep dive. We talked about the different variations. Now, one thing that Ace came out and said was, hey, look, I don't think Bloodlust is worth getting. It just never adds up to Ancestral Spirit. But 1 week later, we're already seeing a shift in the competitive meta where we have teams running Bloodlust compositions. Rhaegar is actually being chosen relatively frequently, and we got these compositions where people are essentially grabbing Tassadar for Archon, and they're grabbing Tychus for the Odin heroic. And when you pair those with Bloodlust, it's actually just terrifying.
Mm-hmm. They also stack Abathur too, and then you have like a double one.
No one's gonna let you take all of those. So, like, I see what you guys are doing. You guys are up to cheeky shenanigans. No.
You know, I keep saying cheeky whenever I'm talking about like you know, little strategies like that. But anyway, yeah. So I was actually talking to Dreadnought today. Somebody from Team Simbo, I don't know, one of those guys. We were actually talking about whether or not in the future meta, whether or not it's going to be worth it to take Rhaegar away from a team that possibly has Tassadar and Tychus. Is it going to be forcing a Rhaegar into your team with no synergy to take away the bloodlust from a team that possibly has Tassadar and Tychus? That was a really interesting discussion we had today. We didn't really come to a conclusion on it, but it's like one thing to really kind of think about for the future, of whether or not it's, you know. But yeah, it's really interesting to see Rhaegar come out with bloodlust, especially after we were talking with Ace of Spades last week with Ancestral Healing being his #1 pick if you were to pick Rhaegar.
I mean, Ancestral Healing is very good. It's the strongest heal in the game. It's obviously definitely like a good option, but we're seeing basically Bloodlust has found its place in the meta. And like people in the chat are saying right now, Nick is saying that Maw counters Bloodlust. When you can completely negate a few heroes, like you get a good Maw, you just disable. Like you can't stop Maw. Like that's you can dodge it, but you can't stop it. And that's something that you can just completely disable. The Tassadar and basically Bloodlust will wear off and essentially nullify it, but I still feel like it has its place, for sure. I mean, it definitely, we're seeing it in picks, we're seeing it in scrims, and I'm sure it's seeing a lot of success. I mean, Sheth, how much have you experienced it in scrims?
We've played with it a lot. It's very strong again if you get Tychus Tassadar. Like if you can get both of those, like you're just doing pretty well on your drafts generally, and then you can do them all. The other things you can do are something like Brightwing. It's kind of okay if you want to disengage. Use the Emerald thing. And then the other stuff is Void Prism. Can kind of be used if you want to run away again, because its cooldown's a lot quicker. And then the other thing we've actually been trying is, like, if a team gets Bloodlust, we tried out Tyrael, and we would do Sanctification. So they would, charge into us, and then read Sanctification, and then, like, if we needed it, like Uther could Divine Shield the Tyrael, and we'd have like the same amount of time almost as they would Bloodlust, and we'd just be able to hit them for free, kind of. And that was pretty cool. That was a lot of fun.
I mean, you mentioned 2 big changes in the meta right there alone. Emerald Wind was always considered to be something you just don't get in competitive heroes, and same thing with Sanctification. It's not something you see a lot. So already just Bloodlust forcing new picks. Now, Kev, earlier today you were actually telling me about like just Emerald Wind in general, and people are grabbing it if there's double melee.
Yeah. They will take Emerald Wind because it's just such a great disengage. But not only that, but Emerald Wind will also be really useful if you have like a Bloodlust engaging on you. You can just Emerald Wind and then engage after Bloodlust is already done.
Or Emerald Wind has been a part of the meta for a while though. Now it's been like over a month. taken?
I don't know about over a month. I think only for the past couple of weeks, maybe two weeks or so. I've been seeing, like, I've been trying to get teams to send me information about like what their scrims are currently looking at, and I've been hearing a little bit more about Emerald Wind. But I mean, still, Blink Hill is actually still being taken. But it's, you know, if the situation calls for it, Emerald Wind is also being used.
Just wanna say right now that me and the Fairy Dragon are very, very close with each other. Let me just grab my Fairy Dragon right here. And
I feel like this is fraudulent now. You don't even play Brightwing anymore.
When was the last time
I
you played
do. I've just been playing other
fraudulent.
heroes. I love Brightwing, but I've been saying Emerald Wind has its place in the game for quite some time now. It's a great ability. I mean, Blink Heal is phenomenal, but Emerald Wind is so fun. Good Emerald Wind's just... God, it's so
MLG
cute.
producer.
You're just jealous because you don't have these 1 in 2,000.
I am jealous,
Fairy
actually. That
Dragons.
thing's pretty awesome.
Now, what's actually really interesting is that one of the biggest reasons why Brightwing is being picked is because of Arthas. And if you can get a polymorph on Arthas, it denies a lot of his self-healing abilities, which is why Brightwing's being picked. Because Arthas is so strong that they are intentionally using polymorph as soon as Arthas starts approaching the enemy team to deny him the self-healing ability and focus him down so he can be just pretty much erased.
Yeah.
And that is one of the biggest reasons why Brightwing's actually being seen so often.
Right, and Brightwing's just on a lot of other heroes. Like, if you see Brightwing on a team, like, you do not want a VTC on your team. Like, it's Brightwing could just... The poly is just such an easy fix for Mosh Pit. And she counters, like, a lot of things in general. Like, she's just so flexible and, like, so efficient.
Yeah, that's our meta discussion about Rhaegar today, huh?
Damn.
She's almost like a direct counter to Kerrigan too. Like Kerrigan runs in, you polymorph her. You can like rewind polymorph her. Same with Illidan. Anyone ever runs it, you just
ETC as well. She's a really hard counter to ETC because of Mosh Pit. Like he depends so much on it, and you just polymorph as soon as he uses it, and that's he's still a good initiate and tanky. But
didn't I like literally just say that?
Oh, you said ETC? Oh, I didn't hear you say ETC. I thought you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean. So that's one of the really interesting things about the meta is that it's very, very shifting very quickly. I mean, Malfurion for the most part was picked more often than Brightwing. So I'm seeing in a lot of my statistics for like about a week or 2 weeks ago. But now we're starting to see Brightwing show up in more and more and more, and being one of those actual like not first picks, but really like one of the very, very top half.
She has a very high pick ban rate.
Yeah.
For good reason. I mean, like we just said, she's super flexible. But, I mean, any other big shifts in the meta that you guys have been noticing? I mean, we mentioned we're seeing Sanctification a little bit. We're seeing Emerald Wind get picked a little bit. And Bloodlust. And, just to preface, like, back in the earlier Town Hall episodes, one of the bigger topics that we would talk about a lot is that just in the current state of the meta, pretty much... I'd say probably 70% of the heroes only had one heroic that was considered like worth taking. But as other heroics are introduced in the game, and as the meta shifts, and as new heroes are put into the game, we're seeing other heroic options being taken, which is really, really just nice to see. So obviously those are 3 ones that we're seeing more now. But Kev, you were getting real excited about something.
Man, dude, my boy was like. Big news,
boy?
Like 2 weeks ago, a week ago even. My boy Dibbles, Diablo. He was like, he was one of the, no, seriously, like he was one of the, I'm looking at my statistics right now. He was first pick for at least 30% of games that I have.
Wow.
This week, no first picks, no bans. He's picked maybe 5% of games.
That's the meta, bro.
Just shot down in a week. So like not even like a gentle like, oh, this was the decline of the Diablo. No, it's like 2008 market crash. Diablo's gone. Like you have that crazy guy who hits all the weird sound buttons. It's like sell Diablo, sell Diablo.
There was a point.
It's so bad.
There was a point around like episode 12 or 13 where we like had a discussion off the show like we gotta stop saying that something is just wrong or bad because, like, around episode 12, the game had barely been out maybe 2 months at that point, and like the meta just shifts so fast with this game, like, and things become so from obsolete to good like within a week. Like it's so absurd how fast this game is changing.
right.
This is why I want to bring this up as like a weekly thing, and I've been talking to a lot of teams, and I'm trying to get them to pretty much send me like, in a way, like a weekly report.
So here's
of
Kev's
just
strat.
like of what's going on.
Let's not do research. Just send me all the info I want. Just give me things, and then we'll talk about it.
Well, I mean, honestly, let's like honestly think of a serious situation where we've seen teams professional. I'm just talking about like, specifically about Tyrael. When have we seen teams like seriously use sanctification in a legit way in the last 2 months? Like, and then Sheth saying they're using it now versus Rhaegar comps. Like the meta just like all of a sudden sanctification, like Judgment was the #1 pick before that for a long time.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden, bam, sanctification.
I mean, no one can disagree with you. Like people might have grabbed it here and there, but it wasn't a common choice. Not from what I was seeing on. I mean, maybe
I guess Gazlo comps with the Wombo.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of Gazlo, Kev, didn't you just post a YouTube video of something?
Oh man, the double
about
robo. So it's not really like meta. It's not something you can really use, and it's actually really funny because I was playing with Sia Steve and Dunk Train last night. If you're watching Dunk Train stream, you could see this actually happening. We ran Dunk Train with Abathur. I was running Gazlo, and we were like hiding in bushes, waiting for everybody to go out of the base. And we're like, okay, I think we saw 4 of them. Ready? Shh. Spec Ops time. And then he would clone me, and we would run in, and there would just be somebody waiting there because they knew that that's the strategy that we were going for. And they would just sit there with like a Rainer or somebody, and they would just, if there's one person back at base, and I mean we saw it with LZ in that video itself, they just like shoots down the strategy. And it really kind of like made me really upset. I was like, damn, I should not have shown that video to anybody. But it's okay. It's okay because Corey, Jake, you guys know about my other Spec Ops.
Oh, yes.
Nobody knows about those yet.
Okay, all right, so we keep that on the DL. We keep that one on the DL.
But yeah, that was a real shame. I was really upset about that.
Sheth, are there anything new things in the meta that you have particularly enjoyed recently? That have just kind of out of nowhere?
One of the newest things they did was they made it so Void Prism, if you do Sonya ult into it, it no longer is instant. So people aren't really running that much Zeratul Sonya like for that sort of thing anymore, because you can dive out of it or anything like that. The other thing is Ice Block is seeing a lot more use on, say, Malfurion or Brightwing, I think, compared to in the past. Yep.
Instead of Sprint.
Yep, instead of Sprint, instead of like Rewind or whatever else is on that talent tree.
Yeah.
A lot of teams look at that.
Cool.
That's really interesting.
Can you explain the Zeratul Sonya thing again? Did they change a mechanic or something, or?
Yeah, it used to be that if a Void Prism was down and Sonya
you could leap on
ulted
it
into
and get stuck, right?
Yeah, it would be instant, and then like whenever it dissolved, it would instantly stun everything in it, which was huge. Like it was amazing. You could combo like that into like Diablo ult, into like Gazlo ult, and like they just all died. But now they have it so if you're leaped into the Void and like the Void cancels or whatever, there's maybe half a second where people can get out of the area before Sonya lands.
Stealth nerfs. I didn't know that. I haven't played with the Zeratul in a while, so I haven't messed around with that. That's pretty interesting. I hadn't heard that.
I think that's a good change though, because it makes it like that's such an easy setup. I mean, I've never been a big fan of
it was pretty much free.
Just free setups. Yeah, it's like it's absolutely free. So that's cool. That's good to hear. Because I don't know, wombo combos definitely are cool and all, but in the current meta of the game, wombo combos are like just becoming. Honestly, they seem to be more and more and more and more popular. Just these full wombo strats. Like, am I wrong in saying that, or is it becoming?
I mean,
more of a thing.
Wombo-ish, not in the traditional sense, where it's like stun, 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 and everyone's dead.
Wombo has a different meaning in this game, but since like almost all the top tier heroes seem to have some form of lockdown or stun, like they just kind of combo and flow together. So yeah, it's wombo in that sense, and most teams tend to run comps that either counter that or are all about that synergy with the stuns and lockdowns and whatnot.
Makes sense. Well, I think that pretty much covers our meta update for this week, unless there's any final thoughts on the topic. Kev, do you have anything else?
I do have one more thing. Okay. It seems like somebody found us out.
Someone is...
They found us out. They know the secret ambush siege tank hover into their base and take out their keep from behind enemy lines. They know our strategy.
Damn it!
Just called us
Guys,
out,
we're found out. We have
like
to wrap up. We're done. We're done here.
I have one more quick question for Sheth. Are you seeing any like heroes that weren't getting as much play before that are making a little bit of a comeback right now, or is it still the same?
That's a great question, actually.
Let's see.
Is that Water Dragon Lily strat for reals, bro?
No. Never Water Dragon. Sorry. I wish.
I actually saw that kill
works.
somebody the other night. I was
Really?
so impressed. I saw Water Dragon kill somebody, and the slow led to a second kill. It was like...
Gosh, amazing.
I think Abathur's seeing a lot more use than he used to be. I don't know if it's like that great. Zagara, yeah, Dunk's right. Zagara's seeing a lot more play because of the Bloodlust thing as well.
The Maw is really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about Muradin? Any more Muradin?
No.
Muradin had like a small spike, but I
Yeah.
played against
It was
Muradin
like a week and a half ago. It was pretty popular, or not. Like
The reason why Muradin is really popular is because once the rewind at 13 was kind of like found out, it was like really awesome because you could just stun. I think I did that song last week, but unfortunately, it takes a really long time for Muradin to actually get going. Like he's kind of like like a small snowflake that turns into an avalanche later on. But if you stop the snowflake from moving, nothing's gonna happen. So he's really easy to like shut down in the early game.
Some of the cool stuff we saw with him was like if you take the Avatar form and Bloodlust him, just like mini stun constantly. That was cool.
Oh my god.
And then
And he has the
against
move
tank
speed
comps,
too.
yeah. And then against tank comps, you could like just knock the tank away and go back to the fight. But tank comps haven't been like too much of a player recently.
I've been seeing, well, at least in the past week, I've been seeing a couple of teams have been taking double tanks. We're seeing like
Really?
Arthas Diablo.
Oh, I meant siege tank. Like
yeah,
Hammer.
yeah, sorry.
Hammer.
Sorry
Yeah.
about
This
Yeah.
is gonna be so confusing. Blizzard,
It
please.
always will be.
Blizzard.
There's nothing they can do about that. It's a tank.
But yeah, like I've actually that was one of the things I did want to mention is that somewhat interestingly enough was we've been seeing a couple. I've been seeing a couple of instances where we see double tanks, where we see two different warriors picked at the same game, not like Barb and somebody else, but like Arthas Diablo. Actually, in the game that Kaldor casted. It was Stitch's Diablo, I believe, that was sitting on Glorious Gaming. Apparently, that is like one of their more favored tactics lately. I don't know if it's going to be staying throughout the next week, but I thought that was a pretty interesting thing to see.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Well, moving on to again, a lot of people were upset that we weren't doing this segment for quite a while, and I hope Coobie is ready. Because it is time for Jared. Take it away.
Coobys Questions.
So I have some bad news. Sheth has almost single-handedly destroyed Coobys Questions this week.
No.
No,
The nicest guy in the world just.
But there were a few points that I was bringing up that we like pretty much just covered. But that's okay. That's okay. Like
let me just
segue
interject
is really nice.
and apologize for dragging the Coobys Questions all over the screen because I've never actually put it on this graphic, and I was like, where do I put it? Where do I put it? And I try to put it at the bottom, and like the way the file's made, I actually can't do that because it's like got a bunch of negative space around it. So yeah, production value. Anyways, Coobie, take it away.
All right, so Coobys Questions. This is where I ask the hard-hitting questions. But this week, we've already sort of half talked about it, but that's okay. All right, so like we've been talking about, there's been a lot of shifts, especially in heroics being taken, some strange team comps, etc. So I want you guys to come up with the 3 most underrated heroics that are in the game right now.
You've done this question. You've actually done this question.
No. We talked about heroics that were bad.
Bad. Yeah, we've done bad heroics.
Underrated. Okay.
Underrated heroics that are going to see a rise in popularity in the coming weeks based on meta shifts. And I've decided to put a caveat in here that Jake gets to lead the discussion because he has such clairvoyance with Emerald Wind. Okay, so we all have to respect Jake's opinion.
I need a minute to think about this. I mean,
that's fine.
I might have a new show called Clairvoyance. Just plug.
Yeah, did you like that? Did you like I threw that in
Get
there?
your plug
No,
ready.
oh my
We'll talk about that more in the shout-outs, but it's an awesome show. Check it out on my YouTube. But so yes, new heroics that might take a place in the meta in the future. I mean, honestly, it really depends on the map. I've been saying this for a long time that I think Zagara's the Nidus Worm, actually, if we had bigger maps, I could see Nidus Worm having ridiculous use. You guys are shaking your head. That's fine. But I don't.
Myself a little dizzy there.
At the same time, I don't actually think we're going to see those larger maps because Blizzard wants to keep the game time pretty short. Increasing the map size is inherently just going to make the games longer.
I need the 4 of you guys to come up with a consensus here. This isn't just like everyone votes on it. So
that's not gonna happen.
Let's just go ahead and talk about the obvious one, sanctification from Tyrael.
Yeah,
we've already said that.
You know, that was something I had in mind. So that's all right.
I wanted to avoid the ones that we already mentioned that are happening right now. We're talking about future meta shifts. So we just talked about Emerald Wind, Sanctification, and I guess Bloodlust. Those are 3 that are actually cannot be done because they're being seen in the meta shift we're already seeing right now. So Coobys' question is future meta shifts, right?
Yeah, what we're gonna see in the future. I want you guys to look back at this like a month from now and be like, "Wow, we're so smart. How did we know?"
So those three are null. So
let's just pick something crazy and random, then, and hope we get lucky.
Robo-Goblin.
I don't like this. No.
From Sonya.
So no, you have to have a reasoning behind it.
No. I think I have a legitimate one. And people are going to call me crazy, and that's exactly what the point of this question is.
If you say Blunt Force...
No. Well, no, Blunt Force Gun is actually taken quite
that wasn't even one
quite often if you go for Sergeant Hammer. It's actually a pretty good ult. It does a lot of damage. People really don't think so, but the thing about Blunt Force versus Napalm is that, first off, if you go for graduating range, or any of the range upgrades, your napalm is already going to be less than your actual auto attack damage or your auto attack range. The other thing is that Blunt Force does 700 damage very quickly, very fast, whereas napalm is, I think, until level 20, doing about 200 a shot. So actually, Blunt Force is really good for pretty much just kind of chunking the enemy team very quickly. Paired up with Shock and Awe, we were doing a game on Sunday night in which Shock and Awe and Blunt Force Gun were hitting the entire enemy team at once. And it was actually just decimating their health bar, like taking them down to hell.
I like that. I think I know where this is going.
However, given my 3-week possible voted person, which is going to be Murky, I'm going to say March.
Oh yeah.
You think March is coming back?
I think March is going to have a quick revival. Octograb is very nice. The cooldown that's kind of hit it lately is making it a little bit less interesting. But if Bloodlust is good because it makes everybody run faster and do more attack damage, or have higher attack speed, which is really nice. Attack speed is like the great thing for Tassidar's Archon and for Tychus's Odin. I think the counter to that is the move speed debuff, the group move speed debuff coming from March, and you can't really avoid it if it's put in a really good position.
Nick's Team Descent runs March of the Murlocs already quite a bit.
I know.
And it's been rather interesting to play against. On huge maps like Garden, or I don't know the official name, but the plant map.
It's Garden of Terra.
Garden of Terra.
Yeah,
Garden of Terra. It's pretty respectable on that map for sure.
All right. Interesting.
I can definitely see that become a thing. Like Kev's like it more popular, but like the more preferred heroic on Murky, but I still don't see Murky becoming a popular common pick.
I mean,
I definitely see it as an underrated heroic, but I don't. It would take a lot for him to move up in the tier list to where he's picked more.
But it's a good point though, because if this Rhaegar strategy does see a surge, then we might see it in like the next week or so become like a counter strategy. So it might pick up. It's interesting.
So
Jake.
I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna. Well, it's not cheating, but it's using a discussion I had with Sea Steve.
You're cheating.
It's not cheating, but Sea Steve and I were talking. We were talking about the 3 new heroes that are coming into the game, and you always have to think, how are these heroes going to mix up the meta? Well, we were talking about the combination of Chen Stormstout and his barrel, which knocks people back when he's heroic. He gets in a barrel and he just pushes you. You pair that with Force Wall, with Tassadar, and you have a scary combo because you can just push people where you don't want them to be and force wall them in, and they're doomed. Like, or 2 or 3 people. So the amount of control you get on the battlefield where Chen just pushes people away, and they'll be able to lock people out or in with the force wall is like a ridiculous combo. So I think we'll see force wall be taken a lot with Chen.
Yeah. Going off of what Jake just said about the new heroes, when we get a new Barak in the game, we'll have another dive-heavy hero. I don't think it'll happen, but it could. I can see what's the fall stat ult called? Aerial Blitzkrieg.
Yep.
Blitzkrieg.
That's where I thought Kev was
I could
going.
potentially see that popping up, but like looking through all these heroics, like they're either kind of already used in situations or they're just not used, like Nazebo's secondary art Gargantuan, or I mean, we already see Syndragosa, like I guess 30% of the games. I mean,
Syndragosa for sure.
We won't ever see stage dive, I don't think. Like, this is a hard question, you know. I mean,
it's tough.
It's definitely tough to. That's a good question. It's hard to answer without like being silly.
If I was going to bring up a couple for discussion, I would say Reigns on Valla after the strafe nerf might be interesting. And then Uther's Divine Shield, I think, is underplayed with him as well.
Yeah.
That was one I had in mind, Sheth, was Divine. I've been
playing against Divine.
Right?
Oh. Wait, no, that wasn't us. That was... Yeah, Dunk, Matt, and I played against Divine last night because of right after the ladders got fixed. Everybody was talent gated to be level 1. So we had to play against an Uther who had Divine Shield. And let me tell you, when everybody's talent gated, Divine Shield is absolute bullcrap.
You put that on, like, say you're running like Uther Rhaegar, you know? You put that on a high priority target, and then you keep them alive for a few extra seconds, and that ultimate heal comes in, and they're full health.
Divine Shield already heals. Well, at level 20 it does.
Yeah.
So.
God, that's so overkill. Divine Shield and...
Yeah,
that's so overkill.
Know,
but
really
to use 2 heroics to keep one guy alive, like
you run that with Murky comps, dude. Murky will never die.
I hate you.
Look at this.
I hate you. I actually think Reign of Vengeance is really, really good for some situations, but it's not as like Strafe is just amazing. It really is. Like it's so strong, and even after the nerf, it's so strong. But I could see comps where Reign is considered to be like a good pick, because
Reign was the pick for a long time.
Yeah, it's still just Strafe is ridiculously good. So
how much of a damage drop? Oh, I guess we'll say that for the Valla discussion.
Yeah, that's
tricky. I got it right.
Because we're doing one of those. We're doing one of those famous deep dives, guys. Some on Valla.
So yeah, that was one I had in mind. If I was thinking if the Tyrael Barb combo was going to pick up more in popularity, that people might actually start taking Divine Shield on Uther.
Oh yeah,
that was just one I had in mind. Yeah.
If it's like that pure dive and you get like false dead laser, and then like it used to work, but then you just Divine Shield them and.
Yeah, right. It's just like, okay, we just wasted 3 heroics trying to kill him.
I got it, guys. I got like the number 1 that we never see, right? So whenever you guys are playing Kerrigan, you always take Ultralisk. But what if you took Maelstrom?
Stop.
I think we're gonna start seeing that more often.
God.
Yeah.
Wow.
On a serious note, maybe if like the meta keeps up like goes like into a even squishier type format, there might be a situation where triple tap gets taken a bit more just to snipe off high priority carries. But
I mean, it's okay at 20, but
yeah, but it's so easy to disrupt that.
Well, for a specific meta, there might be a situation where triple tap has a place.
She does.
You know.
You do like Owl all the time. You do like Nova for snipes, and then you do like False Dead, and then like sometimes you can just nuke something down right away with that.
And BFG, bam, new meta. We got this, guys.
The new poke strat. Yeah, we're just gonna poke you from afar. I love it.
What was that? Jake? No, Jake, you had a great idea, which was we were talking today about you came up with the idea of Robo Goblin, Abathur, and then level 20 Bloodlust. Because you don't have to be with the Robo Goblin and the Abathur clone, and then they have.
Stalk.
Yep.
When did Coobys question become a joke, guys? This is serious discussion.
That's not a joke.
Serious.
This became like Coobys theory crafting pit. Like
Bloodlust at level 20. Do you know how fast you take out a palace?
Oh god. Yeah, I mean that's like such an all-in thing, but it would be really fun and hilarious to watch. I agree.
We should actually do that later.
Yes, we'll do that tonight.
Hope you guys don't do it to us, but that'll be silly. Okay, all right. I need a vote. I need like an answer here. Someone, Jake, give me the answer. What does the team vote
for? Like,
oh, we're only picking one.
No,
March.
3. I need 3.
Top three.
Okay, so when Chen comes out, I'm definitely voting for Force Wall. All in favor?
All right, I'll vote. I'll vote. I love it.
No one likes that idea. All right.
The pity vote from Kevin.
I don't even remember the other ones because they were so uninteresting. No, Divine Shield. Vote.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
no.
I'll vote for Divine Shield. Divine Shield, March.
If Divine Shield's with the Tyrael, then yes, but I don't think it would be that as good standalone as Divine Storm.
Okay.
I think they have to be comboed together.
I think
Personally,
it's March, Divine Shield,
Sanctification.
Sanctification.
Sanctification's already in the meta.
Not really.
Kind
It
of.
just
uses
it just
Sheth-
started.
Sheth's the only like Team Snowflake is like the only team that uses it. I haven't heard of a single other team that uses Tyrael. Even though like he's the best hero in the game, I haven't heard of a single team that uses Sanctification other than Team Snowflake.
All right. I'll prove,
Outside
I'll
of
prove
regular-
you wrong with my Chen Storm Stout Forest Wall strat that me and Steve are going to do.
Well, whenever he comes out in the next year, you can do that.
He will be
We're
out
talking
right
about
after
the
PAX
current
East. We're talking about the future meta.
Current future.
The current future.
Everyone, click the straw poll link and vote Illidan, please. All 137 of you.
Everyone,
Oh my God.
please vote for Illidan. Sham 2 is in the straw poll. He is, for anyone listening to the audio-only version, we'll have this for you. We'll have the link for it in the YouTube comment or on our website. But there is a straw poll where Kevin does his free week, or Sham 2 does his free week every week. He says, please God, no, on Murky. He's trying to trick you into voting for Murky because he doesn't want to play as Illidan.
Yep.
That's our PSA.
Exposed.
Exposed.
So Illidan-
within a feint. Just letting you know.
Oh God, Murky just got
There's,
more
there's a
votes.
third?
You guys are
There's a
doing
third
it
in there?
wrong. You guys are doing it wrong. This is tragic.
Who is it that he doesn't actually?
Anyway, let's get to the next section of this show, please.
That being said, yeah, we should
Alright.
move on rather than just
Alright.
just fluff around.
I'm
Try to-
slightly satisfied with your answer. Good enough.
slightly satisfied. Well, on that note, we talked about Valla a little bit. Let's segue into our
Yes.
deep dive of Valla.
Dun, 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 dun.
That is not what we want to be looking at. I usually have the hero ready to roll, but I blundered there. I didn't have Valla.
Oh, guess who is ready? Oh, guess who it is?
gosh.
Oh, it's Sham 2.
Sham Van, why don't you read off?
Guys, let's get into Valla. Let's talk about the Demon Hunter from the Diablo franchise. She is an assassin. She is incredibly squishy. I've been playing her actually since Saturday just to mess around with her. And she's got her combat trait, which is hatred. And this is why the episode is called Happiness Meets Hatred. Sheth is the happiest man in the world.
I
So
get it
kind.
now.
Whereas Valla has hatred, and Sheth is our Valla experts. That's why we found that ironic. So hatred, which is her combat trait, basic attacks grant a stack of hatred up to 10. Each hatred stack increases basic attack damage by 2% and move speed by 1%. Of her 3 abilities, she has Hungering Arrow, which is her Q. It's a skill shot with a cooldown of 14 seconds. Fires an arrow that deals 66 plus 15 per level damage to the first target hit, then seeks up to 2 additional enemies, dealing 33 plus 7.5 per level damage. Can hit an enemy multiple times. Multi-shot, which is her W, is a conal attack in front of her with a cooldown of 8 seconds. It deals 60 damage, plus 15 per level, to enemies within the target area. And then her Vault, which is her escape on E, has a cooldown of 10 seconds, and it dashes to the target area. She has 2 heroic abilities. She has Strafe, which is absolutely overpowered. Heroic ability, cooldown 50 seconds, rapidly attacks nearby enemies for 10, plus 5 per level damage per hit. Valla can use Vault while strafing, and it lasts for 3 seconds. Reign of Vengeance, which is her other heroic ability, which nobody ever picks, has a cooldown of 90 seconds. Launches 2 waves of Shadow Beasts. I've never actually even seen Shadow Beasts pop out of anywhere.
What?
That deals 100 plus 23 per level damage to enemies within the target area, stunning them for 0.5 seconds per wave. I don't know. I just see a giant like square that shoots up in front of her and just turns black. I don't know. I didn't know that they were
the
supposed
things
to be.
that come down are the shadow.
Shadow
beasts.
Beast, bro. Come
I
on.
Slam it to
never
the
Pay
ground and
attention.
go down the track.
I've
Those are worked
literally
so hard on these
never-
animations, and you don't even pay attention to them. Come on.
God.
So shout out to everybody spamming the in-game chat right there,
Yeah,
saying hi to Town Hall in the client. I think that's a first. Or oh God, Coobys Questions, get out of here.
So I want to go ahead and say that Strafe did get nerfed, and it's not ridiculously overpowered anymore.
It is
It's
not
still
ridiculously
very
overpowered.
good. It's still very good, but
Yeah.
it's not like absolutely ridiculous as it was before.
Mhm.
It's still very good though.
Absolutely. So, that being said, the old format, I'm just going to preface again because we did the old format for so long, we would actually walk through all of the talents and just kind of give you the options that we think are worthwhile in taking. We have a kind of a different format where we like to present a few different viable builds from the get-going. I actually should have said, hey, Sheth, give me a build. So, hey, Sheth, give me a build.
Oh, I never put that build in the
Sheth,
doc
our
site.
self-proclaimed Valla expert.
Every time.
All right. I'm pulling
Did I
up
post mine in the docs as well? I don't think I did.
I don't know, but we're
So I
gonna
mean, let's go over some of the advantages and disadvantages of Valla while we're waiting for the
Yeah.
talent and what type of I mean, pretty much we see Valla in almost every single
Yeah. Let's talk about
professional
why
game,
she's so good.
the competitive game. Why is Valla such a top tier current pick?
Well, I mean, she does a lot of damage.
Jake, with the insight.
The insight, the deep insight. No.
Well, our expert, how do you feel about Valla? That's a little more in depth.
All right, I can be super in depth here then. Previously to this patch, a lot of players were going spellcaster Valla, and that was basically you do like slow on multi-cast, and like your main idea was you'd use strafe and it would just do 1,000,000 damage, and you kind of stay in the back and cast spells, and that way you don't die. But recently, like strafe hasn't got a huge nerf, and I still do think it's the best because it grants you that 10 stacks of hatred like instantly. And then you just kind of build her like this defensive auto attacker because, like you said, she's very, very squishy. But she does so much damage if you can keep her alive. Like if you have a fight that lasts maybe, let's say 12 seconds, I think she would outdamage just about anyone except for maybe like a Tychus and an Odin sort of deal. So it's all about that continuous damage with Valla.
So she has a lot of sustained damage. She has one thing a lot of different heroes don't have that she has is she has a get out. Having Vault is she's pretty much safe. Like even though she's squishy, she runs quick when she has hatred stacks, and she can get out with Vault. So she has just survivability in that sense, which is good, and sustained and burst.
And she moves a little bit quicker, so sometimes it's hard to like time abilities or things like that because it's just that slight 10% can kind of like throw people off.
And let's talk about the fact that strafe is always off cooldown.
Yeah.
If you run battle momentum and
Which-
strafe, it's just like, oh, strafe, and then strafe's done, and then you throw a few auto attacks out, and then you get to strafe again. So that's pretty good.
So Chef, do you typically run battle momentum?
Alright, I'll go over the talents that I generally use.
Okay.
Level 1, I think pretty much everyone gets just the hatred stat, just increase attack speed by 2%. Then on the next one, depending on like if you have dedicated healers, you can go Manticore. If you don't have like a lot of healers, Vampiric Assault is very good. That one just heals you for 50% of the damage you deal. Manticore makes your third basic attack deal 50% extra damage for those of you who don't like have the talents up. And level 7, I actually think Searing Attacks is pretty amazing.
Absolutely.
That's
What I take
the
too,
one.
Searing Attacks.
Yeah, that's the one I usually take, and I think a lot of other Vallas take. I haven't really tried much battle momentum, so maybe that's awesome.
Okay.
I just haven't really tried it too much. And then strafe usually, unless you like need an interrupt or something like that, and then you can do ranged. And then if there are a lot of tanks, you take Giant Killer. Or a lot of assassins, you take Spell Shield. Giant Killer just lets you 1.5 extra of the max health of the hero. Spell Shield is kind of like weirdly worded and weirdly explained because it's like you take damage, and then it gives you a shield that reduces damage taken or ability damage taken up by 50% for 2 seconds. Like either of those are okay. And then if you have an Arthas, usually you get Executioner, which is your next talent because it makes you 40% more damage, which is insane. If you don't, then you can do Blood for Blood if like they're not trying to kill you, and if they're trying to kill you, you just take Stun Skin. And then again, the last one, if they're trying to kill you, you usually take Bolt of the Storm, so you can escape again. It actually completely like ruins a lot of ults. Like I think Tyrael and Illidan, like if they ult you with like the Hunt or a Dive, you like bolt out of it. Like
Volt's amazing. Yeah.
See you later.
It's so good. Like,
yep. And those are the talents that I usually pick, and kind of why.
So you never grab Vengeance?
Vengeance is the other talent, the Reign of Vengeance.
Yeah.
Just like if there's a PTC and like you need to stun it or something like that, maybe if you don't have anything else on your team that could break it.
No, Vengeance actually, it's they like to use the word Vengeance as much as possible. So Reign of Vengeance is her other level 10 option for her heroic, but Vengeance is the upgrade for Strafe at 20, and then Storm of Vengeance is the Reign of Vengeance upgrade. It's
Oh my god.
They weren't even trying with that.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Vengeance is actually the Strafe upgrade at 20. So you never grab that?
You can. I haven't messed around with it as much because it just kind of got the new patch, right? It's no longer they penetrate all of them. It's you have an extra penetrating bolt.
Right.
But usually I'll run bolt.
Yeah,
like
makes sense.
Bolt, run bolt, but yeah, usually bolt's the one just because you can stay alive so much longer, and that's what Valla needs usually.
Yeah.
The thing I like about Valla the most is I was talking with Idra earlier about her. A lot of her talent choices are just viable depending on comp. Like there's so many choices. Like at level 13, you can take Tempered by Discipline, Spell Shield, and Giant Killer depending on what's going on. All three of them are valid choices. At level 16, Executioner, Blood for Blood, Stone Skin, and even Tumble are all good choices depending on, if you're solo queue or depending on what the situation the comp is. Like Valla's entire tree is
reaction,
and like you said before, the spellcaster build for Valla was also pretty good. So there were talents that were not even taken right now that were taken before in the past. Like Valla's tree itself is just so well done. Almost every talent has a valid reasoning behind it, and a situation where you can take it.
And I think Sheth explained that really well in that whole explanation. Just like, this is why you grab this, and the situation, this, that. And that's really, you don't get that with a lot of heroes. You don't get that many options, like reactionary options with a lot of heroes. There are plenty that you do, but there are plenty that you don't as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I think a lot of people would agree that this is the model that Blizzard should take in terms of
she is the
how
ideal
to build the talent tree. Yeah.
Yes, she is.
This is what we want to see. We want to see options. We want to see they're doing this. Well, then I want to take this to counter this. We want that stuff. That's the good
guys,
stuff.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
I want to see if any of you guys know. If an Abathur clones the champion who hasn't chose their level 10 talent yet, what happens then?
Damn, you're
I don't think Abathur can choose champions. That's a different game, Sheth.
Oh god.
Choose heroes.
All right. I meant heroes.
Jared, good job.
My apologies.
Way to derail it.
So
no one knows the answer.
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
All right. So if an Abathur uses his ultimate hero ability, which is Evolution Master. No, maybe that's the level 20 upgrade.
No, that is
Yeah, Evolution Master.
Yes, that is.
Alright, so if they use that on a hero who has not chosen their level 10 talents yet, what happens then? Will they be able to choose a talent, or are they stuck on...
No,
I've
I don't
experienced this
It's
before.
Ultimate Evolution, actually. It's Ultimate Evolution. Evolution Master is level 20.
Damn.
I've experienced this before in a pub game. I
think-
heroic. This was a few patches ago, so it might have been fixed by then. But I did use it on an ETC who hadn't picked an ult yet, and I did not get an ult even after he had picked it.
That was my
Jared.
guess.
Hey, Jared. It's called a heroic. I don't know what ults are, but it's called
Oh
a
Oh
heroic.
my god!
You got me.
Yeah.
That would be my guess, because you're not allowed to change. Like if they pick one, obviously you can't choose the other one if you want that. So you're given no choices. So if you aren't presented with one, you get to pick nothing.
So Sheth, you just questioned Coobie.
Yeah, I'm impressed. I like you. I like you. You know about the questions. Were we right? Do you know the answer? Is that right? Yes.
I think that's right. I
You
just
don't
thought
even know? You're the worst Coobie question.
Oh my god.
Dunk says in chat that you will get the heroic after, but it'll have a 15-second cooldown on it after they pick it.
Oh, I thought it would have been awesome if you could have gotten both Valla ults, and then you would have had like a vengeance upon a vengeance.
Oh my god.
The vengeance talent. You know, like,
But actually, what's really interesting is you don't. I mean, I don't know how many people know this, but I guess it's a good thing for people who have now played Abathur. You don't actually get the level 20 upgrade. You don't actually get any of the talents. The only talent that ever affects what happens with the Abathur clone is your level 10.
Yep.
correct.
So at level 20, even though you want to have a vengeance with your Reign of Vengeance on Vengeance, but a Storm of Vengeance, you can't. And seriously, Blizzard, we need to talk about this whole entire everything becomes the same thing. Because we also have Hearthstone, Heart of the Swarm, and Heroes of the Storm, and now we have Vengeance, 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 Vengeance.
We got Vengeanceception. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. But
At least they got HOTS right when they named the game.
Well, they didn't really have much time to think. Once they realized that Blizzard All Stars was going to be acronym balls, then they had to think, they had to get out of that one quick.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to the next WoW expansion, Hour of the Scourge. It's going to be a great game.
I want to talk about Spell Shield real quick because
Yeah,
as
cool.
you brought up, Valla does take Spell Shield. Idra was saying it to me earlier. I've never personally taken Spell Shield much, but it seems pretty impactful. And I did play a few games of Valla this morning where I was taking it, and like there are certain combos he was telling me, like where Tyrael will judgment you, and then Falstad will use Shock and Awe, and because of the way Spell Shield works, it would take off the 50% damage or however it works. You know, how impactful do you personally feel that Spell Shield is? Like, do you think it's, you know, something you would take on other heroes as well, or is it something that you only would take on Valla? Because when I was playing with it, I definitely was noticing the impact that Spell Shield's having on my survivability. But you play with more Valla than I do.
If there's a Nova on the enemy team and like they get triple tap, like you always take that, right? But like there are some other weird situations where you can do that too. Anything that like stacks, like Witch Doctor ult could be okay with it. I mean, like it wouldn't be that amazing, but like it'd be okay. Just things that are like repetitive AP damage. You can take it, and it's still pretty good on most heroes. I don't know which ones else or which other heroes would have it.
Sonya does. I think it would be actually useful with Sonya at times because of the leap, and then it's like, okay, we're just gonna kill this guy, but that might help. It's a situation. It could.
For sure, for sure.
Well,
Yeah, sorry. I mean, I don't really have much to say on Valla other than I love to just shadow charge her when she's in the middle of strafe. That's about all I have.
Thanks, Kev.
you know, yeah, it's very satisfying to interrupt strafe, but it's also very.
I mean, so
very
that's
fun
I guess
to
that's a really
annihilate.
good question. What are some really strong counters to Valla play? Like, even if you go for fully tanky Valla, what are some really good counters? Like, what are things that you notice other enemy teams doing to shut down your Valla play as best as possible?
Me?
Yes,
Yeah.
you're a Valor expert.
Oh, sorry.
Self-proclaimed.
Oh, I self-proclaimed best Valla in the entire world. Of course.
See,
Top
someone
3
admits it.
NA.
Someone owns
Of
up to it
course.
at least.
Top 3 Valla NA. Continue.
Oh god, I'm just kidding, guys. Like, don't do that.
Please, no.
Please.
There's a Reddit thread about it already. Don't worry.
Alright, there are certain champs that can, if you can get onto Valla with them, then you can do a lot of damage. Uther can be annoying, like if he decides to stun lock you, which doesn't happen all that often. I feel like a lot of times Falstad with like a Sonya combo can be very scary, right? Like she jumps on you, Falstad hits you, and then like Sonya stuns you one more time, right? And then you just W's you once, and you're like, but if I didn't get an Uther heal or something in there, I'm probably gonna die regardless of what happens. Because it's just so hard to avoid unless you're like really good at positioning and you have a team that deals with it well. If you're looking for like overall what can kind of counter her, it's really just team comp. Like if they can out DPS you, then she's not that great because I mean that's what she's good at, right? Is DPSing over time. But if they outdo you, then like what's your point of having her? You should go maybe burst one of them down or something. But she's strong all the time. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead and finish your finish. Okay. One of the most favorite things to do when you're playing with a friend is like everyone likes to run a carry and a support. You know, that's just kind of what friends do together. They like to help, like they like to support each other together all the time. Who is your favorite support to play with when you're on Valla? Like, who do you think pairs best with her?
Oh, Uther for sure. If they're trying to burst you, right? I mean, if it's like it's not like that important, but oh yeah, I love Uther, man. You can be like crazy reckless with Valla and like look at a Q and then like, you know, a W, which is just 2 heals, right? And they can like shield you and just happy days. They stun when people come in to kill you and you just kind of laugh. And
Then you get divine shielded, of course. It's just,
not always that, but
Right. So just speaking more general, like as Valla, how do you want to be initiating? Do you want to be waiting for a moment? Just like as a general gameplay aspect, how do you initiate with Valla in a team fight? Like
in a team fight?
Yeah, like even 1v1, but like, well, let's just put the situation as a team fight. When you're playing Valla, are you waiting in the back? Are you jumping right on in? Are you constantly trying to poke and prod? Run us through how the average Valla fight should go.
Alright. What's really cool about this game, in particular, one of the reasons I like it over, say, like League or another game, is that team comps aren't really decided. There's no like top, mid, bot, jungle support, you know? Like, like sometimes you have 3 DPS, 2 healers. Sometimes you have like 2 tanks, like a healer, 2 DPS. Sometimes you have like 5 damage. And obviously each of those are going to play Valla a bit differently. But let's just take some sort of generic like 1 tank, 3 DPS, and a healer. You let the tank kind of go in and do their thing, and you generally just focus on either the front line, or like if someone comes to dive you, or if someone dives like your friend or whatever, and usually you try and save your strafe quite a while. Like if more than one person dives you and you think they can't stun you, then you can go for it. But you want to kind of watch things like Tychus's W, make sure Uther's not near you that can stun you. You know, just things that are like easy stuns that they could do to you to knock you out. You kind of want to wait till they use them on other people. And like if you can before the fight, try and maybe build up your hatred stacks, just so you can hit harder, like by killing creeps or something like that.
So, if I was a new player coming in to play Valla, I think probably one of the earlier mistakes that a new Valla player would do is to often use Vault aggressively in situations where they could be done. How are you typically saving your Vault like as a defensive maneuver? Do you almost never use it defensively? Like just run us through like Vault priority.
If they have a Kerrigan, if anyone ever has a Kerrigan, you 100% save it for her when she jumps in. You roll out of that like instantly. That's like the #1 priority, right? The other stuff is like there's a Diablo. You usually want to Vault to get out of his ult if you're kind of like stunned for a little bit of it, like beforehand. Getting out of huge wombo combo deals is super important. Like you pretty much never roll forward with it ever unless you're like chasing someone. Yeah, so just like what you said, like. I can't add too much more there.
No, that's
on the head.
Yeah, like the best way to think about it is unless you've killed 4 of their teammates and you're only going to Vault for the secured kill, it should like almost always be used defensively. There's very rarely a situation where it's okay to Vault forward into a fight. It needs to be because she's just so fragile. She's so easy to kill when you got her locked down.
Yeah.
And if her Vault's off cooldown and you get her in a stun and your team's there, she's dead.
Pretty much.
You just have to use it defensively.
Okay. How about early game when you're laning? Are you typically a dedicated laner? Do you float? Do you jungle? How do you typically play early?
Ball is pretty good early, especially if you get Vampiric, whatever the level 4 Vampiric talent is.
Yeah.
Yep, Vampiric Assault, thanks. If you take that, you can kind of chill in lane, out-trade a lot of people.
Okay.
Right now, it's really cool because it's almost kind of rare for there to be like a very good Valla versus like a very good other AD carry, and like it just to stay a 1-on-1 for a long period of time, because like a lot of roamers, you know, focus a lot on the AD carry lanes because they have one escape and they die real quick, right? So you just play her very safe. You generally just like sit on your horse and just kind of chill early game. Like you don't have to like push it if you're 1-on-1. There are some heroes you can bully, but again, you only really want to bully them if you know where everyone is, and that's kind of rare early game right now, I think, with the meta. Yeah. So generally, just you kind of chill. A lot of people push lanes with Valla, and I kind of feel like the opposite. A lot of times it's true. You almost want them pushing to you so you're safer. Try and deny if you can, but it's hard to do.
Yeah.
That was one thing that I was noticing. I mean, I was playing Valla for the first time in a very long time. I think since like the first wipe. This weekend, and I was noticing that she's such an incredibly squishy hero that if you ever were like really pushing the lane, that you were just, you know, if you're going to sit there and just keep Wing your lane, you're going to push forward, and then a Nova's just going to show up behind you and then just get like a couple snipes in, and then if any other hero's there, you're dead. And that was one thing that I really did notice. So that's a very good point. If you're a new player playing Valla, just play very safe. Don't really push your lane as much as you want to until you start getting those later talents.
Yeah, and I guess I should preface it by saying, like, if it's pushing, push it to the tower real quick and run away.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want it to be really close to their lane because then you're forced to stay at farm lane.
So those 3 shots you're going to get on their tower, guys, not worth it.
I have one more last question about Strafe. A lot of Vallas either would... Like, there are situations like we've talked about earlier, you can stun Valla and Strafe and interrupt it completely. In situations where they're just hunting you down, do you just tend to use Strafe to force them to use those abilities that will interrupt it, or do you wait it out for them to try and use those abilities on something else? Would you rather...
You're talking about forcing disengage with Strafe.
Well, more of like someone's waiting for Valla to use Strafe to stun them. or something like that. If they're like sniping your strafe specifically, what do you do to avoid that? Do you just keep forcing them to use that so they're not using it on other aspects of the fight, or do you just save strafe to the point where they have to use their stone on something else?
I think a lot of heroes questions are tremendously important based on team comp, right? It's very hard to answer honestly and be like, well, I definitely try and make them use it on me, right? But if I say that, then like, well, which hero do I mean? Do I mean like Uther ult? Do I mean like Illidan ult? Do I mean like Kerrigan just stunning me? Like Stitch's hook, Stitch's eat, like Stitch's sprint to you to eat. There's so many different types, right? That it's just really completely situational on what heroes are chasing you. Things that I guess I would still use strafe on are just any heroes that are close that are squishy, right? Like maybe Kerrigan's okay to try and force her to just stun you. Like that'd be great. If she just is on one person, shields don't go up that much, and then you're like okay. But it's super odd to have Kerrigan like on your Valla. Like it shouldn't happen. So yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that was
a tough question.
That's a very vague question
to
answer.
Like you said, it's a hyper situational game. It's not StarCraft 2 where there's a sure answer in PvZ or something like that. There's a million variables depending on team compositions, but that is an interesting point that, like you mentioned, like the question you made, Jared, is just what's the right time to use strafe, and I feel like that's probably one of the harder parts of mastering Valla is knowing when, depending on the team composition, as to when you can get away with using strafe, or whether it's worth trying to bait out a stun to let somebody else use a heroic. Like if you had ETC on your comp, maybe you want to bait out that poly so that ETC can dash in there and get a good mosh pit or something. I mean, who knows? Right. But again, there's a bajillion different situations we could name that are in the same exact.
It's just in solo queue sometimes a Valla gets her strafe interrupted once and then they're really timid to use it the rest of the game, and I see that lots of time. I see it happen a lot where Vallas are just timid.
Even if they interrupt you, like sometimes it's worth it just to get the 10 stacks up instantly, right? So I mean, that's the other thing you got to consider. You're just going to be hitting a lot of just damage. Then why not just use it, and then like if they interrupt you, who cares? Because you're where you want to be.
And I want to throw this out there. I mean, I personally don't play a lot of Valla, but I've seen a lot of Vallas do this in teams that I've played with them. Is when they actually run battle momentum, is you actually refresh strafe so rapidly when you have battle momentum that what people will do is they'll even actually just strafe towers. And it might seem weird, but the entire team will be dead or whatever, or they'll be out of the way, or they'll know they're in a situation where strafe's going to be off cooldown again soon, and they'll get a ridiculous amount of damage on this. Now, this makes Valla like actually pretty scary for pushing because it does a lot of damage to the towers when you do this, and just battle momentum really just the cooldown ends up being like 15-20 seconds. It's actually it's kind of nuts. But then you run into mana problems. And stuff like that if you are actually just trying to spam strafe as often as humanly possible, which I've seen people do. I don't know if I'd advise it, but it's just one of those extra things that Valla has in your toolkit that who knows, maybe somebody will build a strat based around that. But
the new split push Valla
with the Nidus Network Queen.
Yes. Yeah, right.
I have one last question. I mean, every time I see you stream, or I see, Idra or someone else on Snowflake streaming, I usually see you on Valla. Is she your favorite assassin, or do you prefer, like, Falstad or Tychus a little bit more than Valla right now?
Well, whenever I started the game, I played Valla forever. It was my first level 10. Played her even after level 10, right? Crazy. So, she was my favorite for a long period of time. But Greg likes her as well, so I got to play a lot of Falstad. And at the moment, I actually really like Falstad. Maybe it's just because I played so much Valla, but Falstad I think is almost harder to position correctly, and I really like that aspect of it. And then of course, if you get a Falstad ult, like almost nothing beats like a 5-man Falstad ult for feeling cool.
Oh yeah.
So while Valla is super awesome, she's probably maybe my number 2 next to Falstad, but I still love her. She's still great.
Very cool. Any other final questions for Valla, guys?
For Sheth or Valla?
Just
You beat my wife.
Jared, God, why?
Are we sending these in like letter form to Blizzard and like they'll give it to Valla? Because I have a few questions I could ask.
I think we
Valla.
might want to do this. I'm actually going to get my little town hall seal of approval and send off some letters to Blizzard about to Valla, addressed to Valla.
Dear Valla, you are the scum between my toes.
Apparently, Nick is saying
Rascals
that
reference.
Strafe doesn't give 10 stacks of hatred anymore.
Really?
Rip.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's kind of a big nerf.
Is that a shadow nerf, or did they announce that?
It's Shadow. That's a stealth nerf for sure.
Yeah.
That's actually
Or maybe it's
I don't
working
think that-
as intended before.
working as intended. Interesting. Thanks for the. I mean, Nick. That's what Nick's saying. Nick's actually very reliable in terms of whatever he says, so I believe him for sure. Stealth nerf, yeah, sounds right. Interesting. That's actually. I mean, I don't think that necessarily drops her on the tier list at all. She's still really good. I don't think that's really necessarily anything that she needs. And I'm actually fine with that change because I don't like Valla. Boo. No, I love Valla. Actually, she's the first hero I bought a skin for. But yeah, on that note, I think that covers our Valla deep dive with our self-proclaimed expert here, Liquid Chef, giving us the divine insight of the Valo. But moving on to our next topic, we're going to be talking about Blizzard's stance on esports and casting. This is our drama section. We're going to be, you know, one of the biggest things that feedback we get is we're too optimistic about Blizzard in this community. That's some weird negative feedback to get. Is like we're too fluff apparently. So we didn't go out of our way for this. It's just that there's a lot of events popping up that are going against Blizzard's. Basically, what it boils down to is a long while ago, Blizzard came out and said, "Hey, look, we kind of prefer that you guys don't cast events. We kind of prefer that you don't run tournaments." They took the spectator client or the custom game client. Thank you. Out of the game. It did exist. It's gone. The entire community has to queue up at the same time to do scrims. It's very inconvenient. And multiple leagues are popping up everywhere. Like I saw, there's a new league in the like Australia, I think now. There's Europe has versasphere. We have Diamond's new league popping up, and there's Nexus Champ. They have some plans too. Everybody's anxious to do tournaments, and I can tell you there's more and more people that are anxious to do stuff as well. But Blizzard kind of kindly requested, "Hey guys, don't do this. We just give us time. Let us polish the game." The community's really anxious. What are you guys' thoughts on the whole situation? Like, I mean, people are obviously going for it. Keldor is releasing cast. Keldor is a guy that's worked in StarCraft 2 for a long time, casted for GSL, probably the biggest league in Korea, at least for the Western audience. You know, like, really big deal that he's a caster for SC2, and now he wants to do stuff with Heroes of the Storm. Really passionate guy, but he's just kind of going ahead. He's leading the way, and he's saying, "Screw it, I'm going to cast Heroes." And Jared, you're joining him.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing casting with Kaldor and Idra soon. I mean, we waited for a long time. We were just putting this stuff off. I mean, and it's not like the custom games weren't ready. They were out for a week, and they were working just fine. They took them away, so, like, I don't see... I mean, I've always just been kind of like, okay, I'll do it because I respect Blizzard's opinion, but, I mean, people are doing it. You know, I'm going to jump on board and do it too. I mean, I'm not going to just sit there and watch because, you know, I want to cast. I've been itching to cast. Last time I casted a game was WCS 2013 for Challenger E. It's almost been a year since I've casted, excluding the So You Think You Can Cast they released for Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah,
so I can't wait any longer. You know,
you and Kev both did that, and they stopped doing those. They haven't done
They
the So You
stopped doing
Think You
those,
Can
yeah.
Cast for quite a while. Like Coobie and I actually said when the last one was released, we're going to sit this one out, learn a bunch more about the game. We're going to do the next one, and they stopped doing them. So I'm going to play Blizzard here. I'm going to say, all right, guys. Well, we gave you guys the alpha early. We've never given you guys the game this early yet. It's not ready. You guys can't expect it to be ready. Just deal with it. Like you can't cast games. What's your response to that?
Well, I mean, we can cast games. That's the thing, is we have found ways to cast games. Now, Blizzard has kind of said, yeah, maybe you shouldn't be using stuff that's not really quite ready yet. Like, we're not ready to release an official replay client. But the thing is that the gaming community wants to get going. BlizzCon has already been announced that it's going to have a Heroes of the Storm tournament. We're going to start doing tournaments because we want to get ready for BlizzCon. We want to, like... the only thing that can possibly go wrong from here is that we're too good at the game at BlizzCon, and we figured out the game too much by that point. And like we get like these like a stale meta, but even then, to all the people at BlizzCon, they're not going to even like know about the meta at that point, right? But the thing is that the competitions are happening, the tournaments are happening, the invitational for MYI is happening. We are too anxious. This happened 3 months ago that this tournament went down, and then you guys took away custom games. We can't wait any longer. Like it's just we can't. These things are happening. The competitive scene is there. We are ready to go. Whether you want us to go or not, it's happening.
So to preface, just to cover our basis, anyone that doesn't know, is there was a tournament run by CSD called Kings of the Storm. Custom games were suddenly removed after that. We don't know if that was the direct cause. A lot of people like to credit it towards it. Thanks, Matt.
Can we have a round of applause for Matt real quick for removing custom games for us all?
Guess who got third, fourth place in that tournament? Team Frozen did.
Wow. Team Frozen kind of evolved into Team Snowflake, right?
Yeah, except they got rid of everyone but Idra.
So is the next step Team Liquid?
Wow. Look at that. That's too future meta.
Two future meta.
Let me just show off my Team Liquid pins. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm like on full Liquid swag just because we have a Liquid host, and I wanted to be as cringy as possible. And
I was going to wear my Liquid jersey, but Jake told me no. Okay, we both couldn't be bandwagoners, so...
God, look at these pins. I have 2 of them.
Let's go back to being professional again.
Anyways.
But seriously.
There's something that Blizzard said that I think this kind of... It makes me really excited for it, and I hope Blizzard kind of looks at it this way. Blizzard said that they were willing to look into investing into Heroes as an esport, but they're going to let the community do it first. The game has less than 10,000 active people. They're in the alpha, and the community is already starting to do these events and show their interest in this game as an esport. If anything, this should make Blizzard more excited for the prospect of this game being a potential esport, because the game's still alpha, and there's still so little we can do, and we're still forcing it. And you have to look at it from the Hearthstone perspective as well. No casting client. People at the beginning of Hearthstone's launch were casting from Twitch VODs. They were using Twitch VODs to cast that game until people figured out ways to, make programs and do stuff to cast it even better. Like, Blizzard, you can't stop the esports train. It's happening. The hype is real.
Not even just the community, because that just makes it sound like it's like a bunch of like us random casual players banding together. Teams, my insanity, Cursed. They are making Heroes of the Storm teams right now. Professional teams are gathering up players, putting them on some sort of contract, and throwing them into Heroes of the Storm with some sort of like schedule and everything.
Yeah, like you said,
this is more than just the community.
Teams,
because
organizations, I hate to speak for MLG, but they're looking very intently at this game. Like, this game has a lot of potential, and a lot of organizations are like really saying, this is not a MOBA. This is something different. This is something new. It's unique, and people are excited about it, especially just coming from the esports perspective. I've talked about this 1,000 times. The big problem with MOBAs, they get huge numbers. They get massive viewership. They have giant player bases, but 40-minute games suck. It sucks for monetization, and it sucks for a lot of things. Now, but that's a whole different discussion, and I could talk forever about that. But I can tell you that organizations everywhere are really pumped for Heroes as an esport. Segueing from some of the stuff we were talking about BlizzCon, on our show, Clairvoyance, to do with CSD, we were talking about BlizzCon quite a bit. And one thing that I was saying is I would actually be very surprised if they do not have a spectator client ready for BlizzCon. Now, you could argue this a few different ways. Hearthstone did not have a spectator client for last year's Invitational. They did the Innkeeper's Invitational at BlizzCon last year. And they actually, Corey and I were sitting in like the second row or the front row, right in the front, watching all the Heroes panels last year. And Dustin Browder and Kevin Naki, they did commentary.
Rip.
Yes, Kevin Naki announced today that he'll be leaving Blizzard, but that's a different.
Yeah, he
story.
didn't die. No, he's just leaving Blizzard. Sorry.
Mad shout outs to him for being awesome.
So, yes, shout outs to him. I love the guy. I've always loved the guy. Cat's pajamas. He's quite the guy. Well, that's his old tag.
Throwback.
They did the commentary via hand mics, looking over the shoulder of the people playing the game, and they just like shoutcasted, just like, oh, and looks like Arth. This is it's just like, it was super ghetto. It was exciting, but it was like super ghetto, and I really hope they have kind of stuff like that. But at the same time, if you guys watched any of the live streams from PAX East, Trickslayer, one of our CMs for the community managers, him and Browder and I think Naki as well, they all did shoutcasts, but they just casted replays from builds that were from the company. There were matches that were played within the Blizzard office. They casted replays. They're not casting live games. So they're actually using the replay tool to cast replays. And that's what people are doing. That's what Caldor is doing now. But, I mean, if they're planning on doing a tournament, they've announced they're doing a tournament at BlizzCon. I mean, we don't know what they're doing. They haven't said if they're inviting teams. They haven't said if it's going to be like you sign up and players make teams and they happen to just play in this tournament, which I think would be a terrible showcase of the game, and I hope they don't do that. I hope they do invite these teams that are working so very hard to help balance the game and help push the meta forward. But you'd think they'll have a spectator client. But I mean, what if Blizzard just came out and said, hey Caldor, just wait till November. We'll have a spectator client then. Do you think the community should listen? Should we just do what we want? How do you think Blizzard should react to something like that?
I mean, I think it's too late.
By now. I think they would have done it by now.
Yeah, they would have done that. They should have done it before. I think it's too late. I think it would be really. I don't think tacky is the right word, but it'd be basically that for them to come out and be like, "Hey guys, we want you to stop this right now, please," because we already have so much going on, like behind the scenes, guys. There's so much being invested into these leagues. There's so much preparation going down. People are making programs and overlays to make these casts a little bit better, just so it doesn't look, alpha-y. We're doing the best we can to. I mean, it's just too late. Like, I don't think if they asked us, if they said, please, can you guys just hold off a bit, I don't think people would. Now, I think it's too late for that.
You said people are making programs. What does that even mean? Like
okay,
custom UI?
Yeah. There's a problem with replay sync. Like, if you're co-casting with replays, it's the same thing that happened with StarCraft 2. I know Kevin and I were very well versed in this. If back when there wasn't replays with friends, something with either computer's RAM or one computer moving slower is like 15 minutes into the game, someone will be like a minute behind in the replay for whatever reason. Just like every second, like a little skosh slower on someone else's computer, and eventually there'd be like a 2-minute gap. So people are working on a way to where we can do co-cast, and then someone will be able to track the time of the other person's replay to keep those synced. We had it in StarCraft 2 for a bit until Replays with Friends came out, and they're trying to convert that over to Heroes of the Storm. That's what I meant by
did not know, and that's very, very cool. But
yeah, that was a pretty bad problem. And then basically it was like a capture window. Basically it was like you're streaming your window of your timer over to the other person, and that's where that came from. What's actually so the replays I'm fine with, but the custom games is like that's just the number one thing. Like, it was there, whether or not it was buggy. Like, it worked enough that we had a tournament with it, and whether or not that tournament ran perfectly, that's a completely different question.
Matt did a wonderful job.
Yeah, Matt did a great job. We actually have...
You screamed that at us. Matt did a wonderful job.
Don't you talk bad about me.
But the question is, we had that custom client before. If there were so many problems with it, what problems were there? Like, are you working on the custom client? Because there hasn't been any notification of whether or not they're working on the custom games. Custom games, since that was taken away from us. And that's become such a big problem right now.
I mean,
we used it a lot that week it was out. There was no problems with it. I mean, you didn't have a spectator version.
It was out for more than a week, dude. It was out for...
It was out for like a week and a half tops. It was not out.
I think it was about a week and a half.
Yeah, Jared's right. Yeah.
It was gone
pretty
so fast.
But the thing is,
as soon as it came out at this tournament.
I'm fine with the fact that they don't have a replay client, because you know what, they might just have a lot of problems with the UI for replays. They're trying to do something new, whatever. We didn't actually see a UI for the replay that actually seemed coherent, right? Like, we haven't seen that.
No, they haven't made a replay client at all.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. We have seen custom games. We had them in our hands, literally, just sitting there, our custom games. But they're gone now. That's the only thing that I want back. That's it. Like, past that, I don't care.
Yeah.
But the fact that we can have these games, that we can definitely have games against other people on definite maps, that's all we need. That's all we need.
We haven't heard from Sheth at all on this. I mean, what are your thoughts on the thing?
Oh, I spoke a lot for Valla, so I was just kind of letting you guys talk a bit. But I think Blizzard is probably okay with a lot of the casting. I have no idea why they removed custom games. I actually heard someone mention maybe it was they just wanted to have more numbers on like the ladder, you know, get more win percent rates and have people play that more. I thought that was like an okay reason. I personally I don't care too much if they don't have replays in now. It's alpha, right? StarCraft 2 went like what, like 5 years before we got replays with friends. I'd love it if they did it right away, and I think like it hurts them a lot not to, especially in a MOBA when you play with your team and you really want to sit around with your team and watch a replay together. But I don't know, Blizzard's been amazingly receptive. Like they removed artifacts like the week it was put in.
That's very true.
So I'm just giving Blizzard slack from maybe some of their quote-unquote mistakes in StarCraft 2, and I'm just gonna be like, show me what you got on Heroes, Blizzard. Let's go.
I mean, when they first removed the custom games, the game was there was so much less to it. We had less maps, we had less heroes. The game was still, there was imbalances and a lot of things. So I can understand why they wanted to, like, they didn't want the game to be competitive then because, you know, they were still fine-tuning a lot of things. But this game is really good right now. I mean, you're seeing a lot of the heroes get play in the meta. Almost all of them get play. I think there's like maybe 1 or 2 that don't ever get picked right now with the current hero pool. I mean, back then, yes, I sympathize with them and understood, but as of right now, I mean, the community's ready.
Yeah.
And I understand if Blizzard wasn't wanting it to be ready at this point, but we're ready for it, and I hope they can like reconsider and push just like Kev said, just custom games right now. That's all we really want.
Well,
they're waiting to slap the beta title on it.
Yeah.
I think
I
want that beta title so it looks official and everyone can do it.
So that whole discussion did turn into a bit of a big rant, but I feel good. I'm happy. I spewed out a lot of words there. I did spew out quite a few.
Hey
words.
man, people said that we were too nice to Blizzard. I just had to make sure that we weren't, you know,
it's
we
true.
were showing that we do actually objectively look at things that Blizzard do.
But I hope that brings some people up to speed as to what the situation's like. You know, how Blizzard kind of announced to us a while back. This is kind of how we feel about tournaments going on. Now all these leagues are popping up. I've heard a lot of people actually just kind of, like, people in the community, there's a lot of people that like Heroes of the Storm that don't necessarily follow the competitive scene. If you guys watch this show, you guys are obviously somewhat in tune with the competitive scene, because that's pretty much all we talk about. But, I lost my train of thought, I'll be honest with you. But, you know, that's kind of the situation we're in right now, and the leagues are happening. I don't think any of us think Blizzard's going to step in, but it's going to be interesting to see if they respond by giving us custom games, but my hopes are not up. But on that note, we can segue right into our final discussion before we get on to the questions that you guys posted for us on Reddit. If you have not sent us a question, you can go over to Twitter. It's Town Hall Heroes. We can see it up in the top right corner of the screen. That is our Twitter, so send us a question there. Kev will be picking a few questions at the end of the show. And if you go to reddit.com, what, Jared?
That plug was so good. We never plug our Twitter, so I was like, that was awesome.
Oh, good.
That was good.
I do rarely.
He's actually right.
I do rarely plug our Twitter.
We never plug it, but that was a good plug. I'm happy.
It wasn't even
our
intentional.
Twitter, guys.
It wasn't even intentional. But you can send us a tweet there with a question, or you can go to reddit.com/r/Heroes of the Storm and go to the thread there and leave us a question. But before that, we're going to talk about the MYI versasphere Invitational. Now, versasphere.net is one of those new competitive platforms. They're mainly going to be focusing on a Europe league. And as you can see right here, we have My Insanity versus Team Question Mark. Now, that actually is not a team name. That is a team that has not yet been announced for the tournament. And we have, I don't know if it's Nexo or EINEXO. Einexo? I don't know. I'm butchering your name, whatever your name is, and I apologize, and someone will correct me in the chat, I'm sure. Versus Team Empire, a team that we all know. Very cool. I mean, this is just like one of the many leagues popping up. This is kind of, if you guys are not aware, it's actually very, very difficult, if not impossible, to queue NA versus Europe. So these are probably like the 4 most active teams in theory, even though we have one that's unlisted in Europe right now. And I'm really pumped. I think Caldor is going to be casting this as well. I think he's already started casting some stuff for them.
Awesome.
But, Jared, you're just doing stuff with Diamond, right? You're not doing anything with Versasphere?
Not with Versasphere yet.
Yeah, okay.
I'm in talks with them, but nothing specific yet. Right now it's just Diamond and then a little bit with Nexus Champ. I'm doing a few casting with them as well, but
Yeah.
nothing with Versasphere yet.
You definitely, you might see some of us casting for versasphere for sure. Cool guys over there.
Absolutely.
Actually, all of these organizations, everyone in esports, I love. So you could see anyone here
Big
casting
hearts
at
to
any time.
everybody.
I love everyone. Anyone that's supporting competitive gaming is my
No,
friend.
Jake, we were told that we were too fluffy. We can't love everybody. That's Sheth's job. That's
You
what
know
he
who
does.
I really hate?
We hate everybody. Or at least I
Comcast.
do. I think
Except for
I'm-
Comcast, right?
Oh gosh, that's weird.
I'm gonna call out a team right now. Dunk Train, you're getting on my last nerves.
So-
I don't know what is the drama.
That
What's the
team
drama
is-
with Dunk Train?
A team is El Nexo,
Oh, I love
which
that.
is the
He's so
Nexus apparently. El Nexo.
Okay.
That makes sense. Thanks, bagels. 8 bagels.
8
in the,
bagels.
in the chat. In the chat. Coming to save the day. I knew the chat would save the day.
I just got that. He ate bagel like a verb. That's great. I never actually realized
That's a
the point.
Kev pun. That's
I
a-
see him like all the time, and I never put that together. Anyway,
Wow.
yeah, no, I'm excited to see the invitationals.
I'm so
I hope that these are going to be really good teams. I know my Insanity with Ace of Spades is a pretty good team, so I'm excited to see them in a more official capacity. I don't think I've seen or heard much tale of them in Versasphere, so I'm interested for that. Which is funny because they run Versasphere, but I don't think I've actually seen them play too much. I've seen Shinobu play, and he's really good.
He's very good.
But I haven't seen much of the whole team of my Insanity play too many games. Not personally.
You ready for that plug? I interviewed Shinobu on our show, the Esports Report. It's one of MLG's shows. We did an interview, so you could find that on MLG.tv or no YouTube.com/MLG. Yeah, plugs, Plug City. Corey, you're not ready for these plugs.
Plug.
No,
Oh, I'm ready.
I love it. Well, on that note, we can move on to our final segment, which is questions. A bit of a shorter show tonight, but I think
Before we dive into
okay,
viewer questions, can I ask Sheth 2 questions? I think they're pretty good ones.
okay.
Yeah, for free.
You notably professional StarCraft 2 player or former one. What is it about Heroes that pulled you in, and what are your thinking about the future of this game? Do you think it's going to take off big? Just that general Heroes of the Storm question.
All right. To give you some history on my mobile playing, I guess. I used to play a lot of League, or a bit of League, because it was easier on my hands than StarCraft, but it was still difficult at the time. My hands were pretty bad. But I loved that game. It was a lot of fun. And I actually hated Heroes. I thought it was horrible, because
Damn.
right when I got Alpha, I only had myself to play with. I didn't have any friends to play with. Solo queue was like scary.
The worst.
That's the worst.
Especially coming from like a high level League player to playing like my first game of Heroes by myself. I was like, am I playing with bots? Like, no offense, but like, I wanted to play a multiplayer online game, not
Salt City.
and then so I went away from the game for a while. My hands have improved a lot since then, which is really nice. I've been really surprised. Last few months they've been improving a lot.
It's good to hear, man.
Awesome.
I actually called out someone who works for TL named Cadaver, and I was like, Hero sucks, why are you playing it so much, right? And he's like, come here, Sheth, we'll play together. You'll like it then, right? And we started playing, and I played with him almost like 24 hours straight. I was like, alright, this is pretty fun. I guess you got me. Whatever, Cadaver. And then I played with a bunch of TL guys, and I'm like, Jake and Greg play this? Jake and Greg have been on this thing called Town Hall? What is this? And
By
I
Jake, he
watched
means
all
LZ
that.
Gamer. LZ Gamer.
Yeah,
Ninja.
sorry about that. Yeah, LC Gamer and Hydra. And then I was like, hey guys, let's play some. Like, I suck, but like, come on. And like that's nice too. Like, you can completely suck and still play with your friends, they'll teach you what to do. And just the fact that it's a very great team coordinated game where you have to all kind of be in sync, you have to work together. Drafting is amazingly fun. Like, I never really realized how much fun drafting was as a team. So being able to do all those things and just still be able to play with your friends and have quick games, it's been really an amazing game. I've been surprised how much I liked it.
Okay.
Sorry, you asked also how I think it'll go in the future?
Yeah.
Before he asks you more questions, I'm glad you said drafting, because we actually started talking about something in the pre-show, and then we shut ourselves up. It's actually the most recent news. We completely forgot about it somehow.
It's not confirmed. It's not confirmed.
It's not confirmed, but we're still going to talk about it.
Does it involve running water or waterfalls or drip drops or Kevin really having to pee with more running water or?
Gosh, I don't care if he has to pee.
I don't even know what's happening.
Kev
typed in chat that he has to pee for like an hour.
Okay.
Whatever. Deal with it. Anyways, there is an article that came out on I guess German website or Dutch. I don't know. I'm bad at languages. Anyways, that's irrelevant. Blizzard confirms ranked and draft system and reveals matchmaking rules. Again, take this with a grain of salt. Nothing is confirmed at this point in time, but Gamescom did just happen in Germany, so it's entirely possible that something happened. I actually have not read this because I was prepping the show, but to pull it on the screen, why don't you summarize it for me real quick?
So AO, I believe is how it is pronounced, who is one of the, I think he's one of the game designers. If that is incorrect, someone let me know in chat. He did an interview with these guys, and he just basically said that they are definitely doing a draft mode. He referenced the League of Legends draft a lot, so we can expect it to be very similar to that. And then he talked about MMR as well, that there is a matchmaking ranking. It is based off win-loss ratio with, all matches total as well as with that specific hero. So if you're new to somebody, like say you're really good with Valla, but then you want to try out Witch Doctor and you're not very good with the casters or just that kind of play style, you'll have a different MMR for that hero. It'll still balance you between the two, but you're able to experiment. Like most people like I main AD carry, I'm Diamond 1, but I want to start jungling. I can't do this on my main account, so I have to smurf because I'll just get wrecked on Diamond 1. This will allow you to play different roles more, and it's just he talked about a lot about the MMR and the draft system. Nothing confirmed, but they are looking. It was referencing the League of Legends draft a lot.
Pretty cool stuff. I mean, again, this is not official. This is from an interview that happened at Gamescom. Apparently, I'm sure Blizzard will have an official announcement if this is true in the next couple of days on their website, telling us a little bit more about this. But we didn't know for sure if the game would have draft. We really didn't. We talked about it in shows before and why we thought it was such an important thing. And I think if they released a ranked mode that did not have draft, it would be very, very sad. A very hard blow for the community, honestly, because draft is a very exciting thing that adds a very... it adds another level of depth. But since Kev has to pee, we will go on to... You said you had another question, Jared?
Well, he didn't answer the future of the game question, and I have another one after that. The second one's much shorter, though, so don't worry, Kev.
Alright, so we're still in technical alpha. We still have a very small limited amount of players in the game, and I feel like we have a very passionate start. We have, hosts like Diamond, we have casters like
he
all
left,
of you.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Poor Kevin. Okay, continue. Sorry.
But yeah, we just have a great host of people who are already getting involved in the game. The numbers are only going to go up. I mean, if you look at like Reddit subreddit numbers, it's pretty good for heroes as well.
Yeah.
And plus, Blizzard's reaction time is the most important thing to me, right? They did really well with artifacts. That's the only huge change I've been a part of. So like I said, super impressed with Blizzard.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it'll take off to the level of like something like Hearthstone or anything, even like StarCraft. But I definitely see it growing and improving quite a lot in the future. Definitely has a place in the scene. It's not like it's not really competing with LoL and Dota as much as I thought it would. So I'm kind of impressed with that.
Okay. And last question. I don't know if it's like an official position, but you're basically the #1 sub for Team Snowflake. Are you like looking for a team of your own to start competing with on the high level? Or are you still okay with just subbing for Snowflake or trying to move on the slope? Like, is there anything like on a professional level-ish for the hero scene right now? Are you like looking to join a new team or anything? Or are you like still content with just being the technical sub for Snowflake? What's your plans right now?
Alright, well for the future, a couple days ago I quit my job, or put my 2 weeks notice in. I'm still not quite done with that. A little part-time job. And so now I'm planning on streaming, playing, commentating, just doing a ton of hero stuff. I absolutely love the game,
awesome.
I love fun playing with, and it's great so far. So that's where I'm trying to go with it. As for Snowflake, I'm kind of just their sub right now. I love playing with all of those guys so much. I'd absolutely love to be on the team, but as of now, that's not really feasible, right? They have a team, so while I kind of sub and help them out, I'm looking around. I've subbed for a lot of other teams. I'm just kind of, working out where I want to stay, but I definitely want to be competitive. And if Snowflake isn't the answer, I will definitely create/join a 5-man team and play as competitively as I can, because I love it.
Awesome. I love those answers.
His
Thank you.
want to leave Snowflake. Headlines tomorrow.
Well, those are very, very good questions, Jared. We have at least one question from Reddit. I actually closed Reddit apparently, but
What about Twitter?
the question was, and I'll pull up the name whoever asked it in a moment. But someone asked, "Do you play with your keyboard on your lap like you did in StarCraft 2?"
Keyboard's just on the desk for me. I talked to a doctor specifically on how everything should be ergonomically correct, right? So I can kind of give you like or show you how it would be. Your hands sits like that. Your elbow is off the table. You put your pressure right like there on your arm, and you keep kind of your hands. There's no pressure on your wrists, and that's how I keep my keyboard. And the same thing with the mouse, with where I'm like that. So sorry to disappoint, but I'm just trying to stay healthy and all that jazz.
Whatever works for that, if it's doing good, then stick with that, please.
As someone who used to suffer from the wrist pains myself, I can definitely just the idea of putting my keyboard on my lap right now makes my wrist hurt.
It's weird for me. My knuckles hurt from playing Melee for so many years, but I don't know what that's about. Maybe it's completely irrelevant. I just want to say I googled Liquid Chef, and whenever I find funny pictures, I have to put it on the screen. And I found this to be hilarious.
I remember that.
It's just absolutely ridiculous, and it made me giggle a lot, and I had to not laugh when I was just Googling that a minute ago.
I remember that picture being posted on Reddit. It's
quite a beauty. It's quite a beauty. Kev, anything on the Twitterverse? I think that was the only question I actually saw on Reddit today.
Sheth asked Tempo how he's doing, but I don't think Tempo's here to answer that question. Other than that, no, there's nothing on the Twitter.
We missed Tempo.
Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. Quanky, who also known as Saint Snorlax, aka Wax Angel, asked, "How do I know you're even really Sheth?"
Again, don't feed the wax.
I have the certificate over here.
just credit for the keyword question. That was D Wilson 123 on Reddit. Thanks for the question, man. But yeah, no, Wax Angel is actually a local that Kevin and I hang out with, and he's. Go ahead.
I get to turn the tables for a little bit here too, right? Let's just pretend I posted this to Twitter. So hosts of the lovely Town Hall show. I'm a big fan. Thank you for answering my question. And now the question. How do you feel the game will continue to evolve in the future? And do you see it personally going away from traditional MOBAs or going more towards them from here?
I think the beauty of Heroes is its uniqueness. It's different from other MOBAs. If I wanted to play another MOBA, I'd be playing League or Dota. So I hope it stays its uniqueness. As for where it goes in the future, I mean, I can see it easily rivaling StarCraft 2's numbers, Dota's numbers. Do I think it'll ever reach League of Legends big? I mean, League of Legends hit the gold mine, they're the dream, but I don't think it'll ever be that big. But I definitely think I'm very optimistic about its future, and I hope it just stays the way it is, unique and different, because that's why I like Heroes. It's its own thing. It's not another MOBA. It's a hero brawler or whatever they're calling it now.
Yeah,
it's different.
So to come off that, I think that if they do continue to keep their pace and their difference from the other MOBAs and to continue to detach themselves, I think eventually people are going to learn that it's not League of Legends, it's not Dota 2, it's actually something different and something unique. And I think it has more than enough potential to reach the scale of League of Legends, especially as Blizzard games age ridiculously well. And this is a game that is going to keep getting heroes added. Blizzard is going to continue to release new games and characters, and then those audiences will transfer over. If Project Titan is this amazing FPS MMO that's apparently it's supposed to be rumored to, and they create this whole new universe with all these new heroes and characters and personalities that people love and learn, and it's a completely different player base, they have that market. They have the Hearthstone market. They can make the Innkeeper a character. They can go to such ridiculous balance the way they're designing Heroes of the Storm that they can make Ragnaros a hero in the game that doesn't actually go in lane. He just buffs towers and minions and stuff, kind of like Abathur, but to a different extent. They could just break walls down and do something completely different and make the game so unique We have no idea where it's going to go. We have no idea what their vision is, but we know that it's not League and Dota, and I actually think it will continue to be more and more and more different from the traditional MOBAs. It'll be considered its own genre, and I think games will be made to copy it.
I would like to say that that's a trick question, because if you were to tweet that question, you'd be well over the character limit. Thank you for quickening for pointing that out.
I used Twitter.
Oh snap!
Damn.
No, I'm actually. I mean, this is pretty much number one reason to kind of echo with Jared and Jake's points. Why I'm in this game is it's different. It's more interesting. It's quicker. It will be going a little bit more closer to MOBAs than I think a lot of people will think that it will, because it will be going into those picks and ban phases that I think we see from a lot of other MOBAs. I think the maps and the talents and the characters, they will, of course, always stay different. But, I mean, like, pretty much every MOBA has a different map, has a different character base, etc. And there's own little uniqueness to it. I mean, like, Smite is a third-person shooter / MOBA. So, yes, sure, there's going to be little uniquenesses around it. But I think it'll still remain unique enough that it's actually attractive to new players as well as competitive players for the longest time. So I think it's going to do really well in the future. Whether or not it's going to stay particularly unique, I don't know. I think it still needs one more level of complexity, and whether or not they adopt that from that level from another MOBA, or they take it and make a new thing completely out of it, that's up to the question. I think that's really going to determine whether or not it's going to be as unique from other MOBAs as it could be.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think I got into the game. I can't count the amount of people that have tried to get me into the other MOBAs, and the reason I don't is just like so many of those things lined up with exactly what Heroes is, like short games, like not a ridiculous skill barrier to get into it. Everything else is just perfect, and I was like, wow, I can't believe they've made this game that so perfectly aligns with what like people who don't like the other MOBA genres are. So for that reason, it will be huge, and whether it will continue to go towards other MOBA types is going to depend completely on what people want. Blizzard has already done a really good job listening to what people want. We can see that with the quick changes they made with their artifact system and the snowballing and everything. So if people want it to take some traditional values from other MOBAs, we'll see it. If they want it to continue to be really different, we'll see that too. And I have pretty good faith in that, to be honest.
I like it.
Much.
I'm gonna end this questionnaire with a Googled wax angel to see if I could find any funny pictures of him, and I succeeded in this picture where he has a mustache and glasses. Well, he always has glasses, but look at his hair. God, if you guys
Back at his long hair. I miss his long hair.
I guess this is only funny to someone that's never seen him look like this, and if you guys don't even know what he looks like, it's not funny to you at all, but to me, that's hilarious. Ha, Wax, you're not watching, but I'm making fun of you. Take that.
We're going to get an angry tweet to all of us. Very shortly.
I certainly hope so. But on that note, Sheth, why don't you give us your shout-outs as we close out the show?
All right. I'll steal the best one, which is, of course, thanks to all of you for having me on the show. I had a great time. You are all the best individually, so thank you so much for that. And then, a huge thanks to Team Liquid, who still sponsors me, Hybrax, Razer. All of our sponsors are amazing. Feel free to check them out. And then, of course, just keep watching more Town Hall. I'm sure you'll keep watching great Heroes content, guys.
Damn, LZ, I better get a shout-out, and he doesn't get a shout-out.
What? What did I do?
I'm reading the chat. LZ, I better get a shout-out.
Jake
Just goes silent.
Jake always gets shout-outs. Like, he's the best. I wouldn't be playing without Jake.
Yeah.
For sure.
Damn, there's
real Jake. Real Jake, which is LZ Gamer.
Not this MLG fake.
Don't call him Jake on my show.
MLG fake.
Oh, God, awful.
Oh.
MLG solid fake.
Damn. Oh! This is so bad. Jared, give me your shout-outs. Go away.
First shout-out to make sure you follow Chef's stream, because he didn't plug that. I was watching it the other night.
Truth.
Very entertaining.
Truth.
Was it twitch.tv/LiquidChef?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so make sure you guys check that out. This next coming Monday, I think it's the 25th, I am casting the first day of ESV's new league. And then there was a new show match announced at the start of it. It's going to be Team No Limits versus Team Descent. Team No Limits is a new Korean team to pop up that has a lot of old StarCraft 2 pros, Ace, SC, Noblest, Crazy Moving. So I'm really excited to see Koreans get into the game. I'm really excited to cast it with Kador. So no new show before that show match. Make sure you guys tune in Monday night. Follow IBD Gaming. I'm a part of their team at IBD Gaming. Can we like just, even if it's verbally, tease what we're working on behind the scene, Jake? Like, you don't have to show anything, but can we like just? I'm so hyped for it. Just make a little bit of hype, Jake.
I'm working on so many things. I don't even know what you're talking about right now.
I think he's talking about the new website that we have.
Oh
coming
God,
out.
fine, whatever. Yeah, we'll show it off.
We have a new website that's coming out.
It's super
still
in beta. It's alpha in development.
Alpha.
I'm working on a million projects right now. I'll do my shoutouts at the end, and I will show you the website at the end. So
yay! Okay, and then follow me at IBD Zoya. Lots of casts coming from all of us soon, so make sure you follow everyone on the show as well. And follow Town Hall Heroes. Thank you.
Kev.
Of course, do me the favor, follow me at twitter.com/sham2, SCHAMTOO, and youtube.com/sham2, SCHAMTOO. Even though you guys tried,
Vote for Illidan.
Murky is still winning by a large percentage. So I'm gonna put the poll in one more time. You know, look.
Illidan.
85 people right there.
Hey,
if 85 people voted for Illidan might win tomorrow.
I'm going out of my way to get the VOD up as soon as possible to get our YouTube and podcast listeners in on this poll.
And just so you know,
Murky's still at
there's a hidden rule that
7%.
everything that's not Murky is added togetred for Illidan. So, just saying.
I feel like some of those Murky things might have been view-botted by Shen
Agreed.
I love it. Too good.
Maybe.
He is an engineer. He can just log into computers everywhere and just vote.
I'm an engineer. Yeah, I might. You know, if Illidan has to win, I'm just going to use the entire MLG server base to vote for Murky.
Great.
Nobody knows that. But anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Free Week will be coming out tomorrow night, probably, which is going to be on my YouTube channel. Please check out my YouTube channel. I also have new stuff coming out very shortly. It looks like I am going to be getting back into Plays of the Week. I can't really discuss too much right now, but there are things in progress that's going to happen. So follow, of course, my Twitter, and of course follow us on iTunes and Twitter. And you can email us at Gmail, which is Town Hall Alliance still.
We need to fix that.
And then our iTunes, I'm going to make the new one tonight. So, you know, it's good. townhallheroes@gmail.com.
Someone's going to gank it right now.
Snipe it right now. And find us on iTunes, subscribe, do us the favor, give us a rating on that, and follow us on Twitter, which is Town Hall Heroes as well. So thank you very much. That's all I have.
Kubles?
I'm also going to give Sheth a hand and tell everyone to follow his Twitter at Liquid Chef. Yes, okay. You guys can also follow me at Omega Black Mage and Twitch TV/Omega Black Mage. I'm going to be recording another duo queue tomorrow night with my good buddy Jake. I can't really say which heroes we're going to be doing yet, but you guys will find out soon enough.
He's getting close to 100 Twitter followers, everybody. He's almost to 100 Twitter followers.
Yeah.
Follow Omega Black Mage. He's at 66.
Yeah.
34
awesome.
more.
Thanks,
follow
Jared.
him.
What a guy. I think that's it for me. All right, Jake.
All right, well, Jared maybe tease the website, so we'll go over that. I'm working on a bajillion things right now. It's like kind of like production explosion mode. I got to show off my new show I do with CSTV. It's called Clairvoyance. It is a new interview series where this is actually Sheth Week, because it wasn't even intended. We had already planned on asking Sheth to come onto our show with Heyoka. It's another guy that works at Liquid. Heyoka actually focuses a lot on Dota 2. He tweeted at me the other day about, hey, look, I ordered a GameCube controller and I've been playing Heroes. Do you like me now? Or something like that. I was like, I've always liked you, Heyoka. Don't worry about it. But so he has a unique perspective coming from a lot of other esports, and he has very, very small involvement in the Heroes of Storm community, but he has a very unique, I think, outside perspective to the game. So we're going to be talking to Sheth and Heyoka on Clairvoyance. It's going to be actually live Thursday night. It's going to we're going to stream Clairvoyance. We're going to do this one live. It's going to be the last one we did just strictly recording. It'll be our second episode. It's going to be live at 9 p.m. Thursday. That you can find at mlg.tv/solidjake.
Working mic this time?
working mic this time. Yes, we'll be using the right microphone for that episode of Clairvoyance. So that's one project. Like Coobys said, we're doing a new show called Duo Q. We're gonna like enhance the quality of that as we keep going. Sexify the production value. We're starting to look at some cool stuff with doing tournaments and casting. Like we said, people like Haldor started doing it. I don't just want to straight up cast. I want to produce it. I want to make it a nice production. I want to make it like just a really good experience overall. I don't know if I'm going to be doing my own thing. I don't know if I'm going to be working with leagues. I'm going to be doing a lot with heroes, but the grand reveal of the website, it's super alpha mode. We're working with Esportsify. It's a new service dedicated and geared towards esports teams. This will be a resource that we have primarily for like promoting our shows, and you can find this will be like the ultimate archive of every single VOD of all the shows we work on, whether it comes to casts that we do from the host on this show and maybe other people as well, to our various shows like Clairvoyance and Town Hall that now exist. And between the hosts here, we'll probably be hosting guides in here. We had a bajillion websites approaching us. Hey, do you want to write guides for us? Hey, do you want to write guides for us? And like, it's hard to choose one website and then just commit. So we're like, maybe it makes the most sense for us to break down our deep dives and break down our guides on this site, which will just be hosted here. And again, the URL is Town Hall Heroes. Town Hall Heroes. What were you guys giggling at? What did I do?
I didn't think we were actually going to post the link to it.
God,
but
I was actually announcing as soon as you posted there, but townhallheroes.com. It's in super alpha mode. Don't expect anything out of it anytime soon, but it will be a thing that we are going to be working very hard on. And Esportsify, again, this new organization that is making something for team sites. So if you guys have a new Heroes of the Storm team and you guys are trying to get a more legitimate look, I'm not sponsored by them in any way, shape, or form. I just think it's a cool thing. It's really easy to set up a site on this. So if you guys have a team, go to esportsify.com. They're actually being super receptive because, like I said, this is designed for teams. We're not a team by any means. We're a content creation like group, I guess. And they're actually altering. They're making a new business plan, a new cheaper. Like there's a free version, but the premium costs a lot more.
We reached out to them and they responded.
But yeah, they're like super quick to just respond and like say, hey, we're doing all these things that are going to make it more open to people like us. So shout outs to them. Really cool stuff. I feel like I've been rambling a lot in this shout out, but yeah, keep your eyes open for Duo Q. Thursday night, 9 p.m. MLG.TV/SolidJake with me, Sia Steve, Sheth, and Heyoka. That's going to be a ton of fun. That does it for Town Hall episode. I guess it's 27. I don't got the screen to look at and like hold my
27.
hand. I'm losing count, guys.
We have over half a year of episodes, guys.
Wait. Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Wow.
Dang.
We've been doing this for a long time, boys. But
are you gonna do Are you gonna do like a half-year anniversary show?
That's a really good question.
It's already passed.
It's already passed.
It's too late now.
You know, I think we said 50. We were gonna do a special show, but that's a ways off. Maybe we'll do like a pre-BlizzCon celebration.
Pre-BlizzCon,
Yeah.
and then Christmas.
That sounds
Or
good.
holiday season. Sorry, to be
So-
politically correct.
Just throwing this out there, we might have a shirt soon.
Oh yeah! I can't believe
With
we're
the new
hyping that
logo.
too.
I'm hyping
Oh my
everything.
God.
I'm hype beast mode. You can call
There's
me
like
hype beast Jake.
so
That's
many
all.
Town Hall projects. I'm glad we released 2 of them today. The hype is real.
There's a bajillion projects right now, but we're just excited. We're really excited with the way Heroes is going. If we do a shirt, it would be Teespring, which is just basically like Kickstarter for shirts. That way, it's more that we want shirts than we think people want shirts, but prove us wrong. And so yeah, that does it for 27. We'll see ya. I'll see you next, or maybe Thursday for Clairvoyance, but until next time, Town Hall. Signing out.